My name's Adelle Onyango, and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to this episode of Legally Clueless. Thank you so much for rocking with the podcast. If you are an OG member, I have got nothing but love for you. I've met so many of you over the last couple of weeks. Oh my God. Let me tell you, that really fuels me to know that you are part of the family and that you're connecting with the stories or just the things that I share on here. Fuel. It fuels me. If you're a newbie, welcome to the family. Audio episodes like this go out every single Monday. And on Wednesday, we have another show called The Midweek Tease. Ask a Therapist goes out on Friday. We currently have another show on our YouTube channel going out every Friday. It's part of our She Walks series. And on Thursday this week, the 10th of April, we are premiering a brand new Legally Clueless Africa show. I'm really excited about this one because I think you can relate with this. The fear of being seen. It's something I battle on and off. You know, there are times when I'm in a season of confidence and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, whatever. And then there are many times that I hide. I think that's why a podcast is so comfortable, because I am hidden. You're just hearing my voice. And even when we started our video series, I would not be in front of the camera. It would just be the storytellers. But all that is changing with this new show. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it because there's so much in store just from this new show. I am so clear about it. It's definitely time. And I'm sharing with you parts of my life in a super intimate way. And people in my life who have helped me navigate things like my divorce, my health. Some of my older friendships are going to be on the show. So there's an episode with my 67-year-old friend. And the show is called For Mannerless Women. You know, I think I'm in my most mannerless, shameless era. And I love it. I'm not trying to be perfect because perfection doesn't exist. And I'm not trying to hide anything because I am the way I am. And I love the way I am. And I want that for you. That's what this show is really about. Hence the name, For Mannerless Women. So it's gonna be an entire season of intimate conversations with my divorce lawyer, with my GP, with a fitness coach, with my body talk therapist, which was one of the most life-changing experiences that I have been to. In fact, it's what sparked off me working my ass off on my first film. So you're going to meet her. You're going to meet one of my favorite therapists, one of my favorite psychiatrists. Let me tell you, this is the one. So what I want you to do, I'm going to need your help here. I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm excited about the show. I'm also very nervous. And I just want you to hold my hand through this process. And so subscribe to the Legally Clueless Africa YouTube channel. Episode 1 goes live on Thursday, the 10th of April. We are doing this. And there's so many other things that are going to come from this show. This is just step 1. And I want you to be along for the ride. I want you to be along for the ride. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. 10th of April, we go live. All right. This is what's coming up. I went on a bit of a tangent, but this is what's coming up a little later in this episode.
When I was still pregnant with my third born, I got a phone call and somebody asked me, Njeri, does this car still belong to you? And he gave me the registration number. And I said, yeah, it does. What happened? He told me, oh, I just saw it here at the apartment that I live in. And I was wondering whether you're around, then I can say hi. Then I said, no, it's not me. David is the one who has that car. Then I thought, let me call this David and find out what he's doing in some apartments in Langata at 9 p.m. So I called him and then I asked him, oh, where are you? He told me he was at Nakumat. I decided to call that guy again to find out where those flats are so that I can go there. So I got into my car and I headed there. When I got to the apartment complex, I had a door bang and somebody walking down the stairs slowly. So I peeped and I saw it was him. So I went and I hid behind one of the pillars. Then he came down. Then he went to the car. Just before he could open the door, I showed myself and I said, David, I thought you told me you're at Nakumat.
Listen, this is Njeri's story that I am so happy. Hey, I'm so happy that she's shared this story because we do not talk enough about how being in a toxic relationship or marriage can literally make you sick, be it mentally sick or physically give you a condition. We don't talk enough about this. Oh my God. And so part one of Njeri's story is coming up in a bit. But before we get there, I do want to tell you one more exciting thing that I got to do. I got to feature a woman who I believe is one of the top 5 most inspiring women I have ever met. Okay? And I'm not just saying that for shits. I mean it. Her name is Lorna. Lorna lost her entire family, her father, her brother, and her mom, across a couple of years. So by the time she was done with high school, she literally had no nuclear family. She went on to pursue and excel at a career in aviation. She then tried her hand in farming, where she lost a lot of money growing cabbages. And then she decided to start one of Kenya's first sanitary product companies. It's a truly Kenyan company. Her story is live right now on our YouTube channel. And it's exactly what you need to watch to get a great boost in inspiration. If you are navigating grief, if you are scared of starting something, I know you are. You want to start that thing, be it a business, be it a project, be it a show, whatever it is, but you're scared to start, you need to watch Lorna's feature. Reason being, she's not at the end of her journey. She's right in the thick of it, which I don't know about you, but for me, those are the best stories because I like seeing the process and I like hearing the stories of the process while the process is happening. So in the show notes, there's a link to Lorna's feature. I think she's pretty inspiring and I'd love to hear what you think about her story. So make sure you drop a comment once you've watched it. Okay, in this episode, we're going to listen to part 1 of Njeri's story that honestly draws a link between marital abuse, emotional abuse, and mental health conditions. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
My name is Njeri Mushero. Let me just say that I do have a third name, which is unofficial. I'm also known as Linda. I was baptized as Linda, but I've never used that name. All my school certificates, my ID, everything is just Njeri Mushero. Because I was baptized when I was 13, and by that time, everybody knew me as Njeri, so then the name Linda just never stuck. I was born in Nazareth Hospital on the 19th of January, 1974. I was born to John Moshero Munio, my father, and Ruth Wakafa Moshero, my mother. We lived in a small village in Limuru called Kameredo, but I didn't stay there too long. When I was about 3 or 4, let's say too young to remember, my parents separated and my dad took me and my 2 older brothers and we all came to Nairobi and he introduced us to a new mom. When my mother tried to come and see us, he stopped her we just moved on with life now with a new mom. While we were doing all right, Dad was flourishing in his business. My mom lost her mental faculties. She started to hallucinate, and eventually she just developed schizophrenia. My real mom now, my biological mother, is the one who got sick mentally. Then she ended up in the streets. She lived destitute for many, many years while we grew up. We were being raised by another mother who was a good mother also, until I was around, I think I was around 21, when now me and my older brothers went to Kameredo to look for our mother. And when we got there, we found that things were really, really bad. She had completely lost her mental faculties. She used to walk on the streets talking to herself. She would wear all her clothes. She was dirty. We had to go to the police to get her to get into our car so that we could take her to the hospital. So actually, we were accompanied by 2 armed police officers because we had tried before to take her, but she would start screaming in the car, saying that she wants to get out, she wants to get out. And because we couldn't control her, we would stop the car and she would get out and walk off to wherever. At that time, sometimes she used to know who we were and sometimes she didn't. But I think, she was in somewhere in the recesses of her mind, she understood who we were. But it was not easy for her because of the mental illness. So once in a while, she could say, "Oh, you're Njeri." And I would say, "Yeah, I'm Njeri." And I'll be so excited. And then in the next sentence, she says, "No, you're Modo." Then I'd have to ask myself, now, who is Modo? I don't know. Yeah, the name she used to give me by. I have no idea who that is. Anyway, so when we managed to rescue her, we took her to Avenue Hospital. She did some treatment there. It didn't work. So we took her to Chiromolin, and she stayed there for 2 whole years, learning how to have a normal life, talking to people, taking her medicine, going to the toilet, eating, showering. All those were foreign things to her because she had lived in the streets for so many years. She couldn't remember anything. We took her for full medical checkups, and at least her health was okay. It's just mentally that she was gone. After those 2 years, we went back to Kameredo, where she used to stay. That was where we were all born. And unfortunately, the house my dad had left her in had completely been vandalized. And there was really nothing left, just a shell. No windows, no doors. Even the mabatis had been taken. It was just the little cement that had formed the foundation that was there. So we decided to build for her a house, which we did. And then when the doctor felt that she was now capable of living under the care of a caregiver, she was discharged. And then she now went home to that house we built for her. And we got for her somebody to take care of her. She lived like that and she was fine until the 15th of March 2011, when she passed on in her sleep. It was interesting because that day she had said that she doesn't want to sleep in her bed. She wants to sleep on the floor. So her caregiver went and got the mattress from the bed and put it on the floor in the living room. And she said, "Yes, this is where I want to sleep." And then she slept, and then the next morning she didn't wake up. God answered a very, very major prayer I used to have when I was young. When I used to think about my mom, I used to cry a lot. And one thing I used to ask God, please, don't let my mother die in the streets. Just keep her long enough for me to bury her. So he did. We had about 10 years with her. Although she was not fully recovered, she could talk. You could have 1 or 2 sentences together. That's the best you could do. Most of the time, she would be staring out blankly in the air or even at you. And she could stare at you for long periods of time until you start feeling, oh my God, what is she thinking about me? Anyway, so she died. My dad had told us that he would not help her. I think not out of any malice or anything. I think he just felt that he took the children, so he's responsible for the children. So even her, she should be responsible for herself, or her relatives should take care of her. Whatever their relationship was like, I think he just never registered that she's the mother of these children he has taken. By the time they grow up, they'll not have a mother. I think he never realized that. But he died much earlier. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 1995 when I was graduating from university. He only lived 6 months after that. So he died in 1996, June. In fact, when we told now my biological mom, when we went to see her, my father died in England. So when we got back, we looked for some time before the burial to go and see her. Now, when she was still unwell, still living in the shack, with all her mental problems, we told her, by the way, our dad has passed on. And she was like, she said it in Kikuyu. She used to speak in Kikuyu, not English. She said, Moshero, with all the money he had, he has died before me. And we were like, yeah, she was thinking that he would live forever because of the way he had so much money, which is true. My father was blessed and he did well. He educated all of us in the US, in abroad in England and in the US, but he would not help her for whatever reason he felt. But I think in the 1970s, mental illness was not something people understood or wanted to be associated with. So I think that's why he didn't think about how he could find a solution. And even her relatives, I think even them, they just decided they wouldn't help her. It's also possible, from my own experience, maybe they tried to help her, the relatives, but she was difficult to help because history actually repeated itself. I ended up in the same position as my mother. And when my relatives tried to help me, my brothers and sisters, my siblings, I would refuse to take medication. And then I would end up in hospital. So I think maybe the relatives tried, but maybe she made it difficult. Mental illness is not something easy to deal with. I remember when we first brought my mom to Nairobi now, and before we could get her hospitalized for the 2 years, the first hospital we took her to, we were told that she'll be done electrotherapy, which is where they put some electric currents through your head, and then they're supposed to make you feel better or restore your mental faculties. So the doctor did that process, and then he said, she's fine now. She can go home. So she came to stay with me. That time I was living in an apartment by myself. And I was working. I remember one time I got home and the house girl told me that my mom had taken all her medicines and flushed them down the toilet. So I went to ask her, why did she do that? What is her problem? She just got up. She went and stood at the corner of the room there near the door. And when I'm talking to her, she was not responding. She was just looking at me. And I just thought, wow, this illness is difficult. It's not easy. I honestly don't blame anybody for not helping my mother, because what we went through financially, emotionally, because you try to understand. Can't she see that she has children and she should be sane to be able to take care of those children, or even just be there so that they can know their mother is okay? But it wasn't easy. So fast forward to the year 2003. At that time, I was working as a lawyer at a firm called Amolo and Kashoka Advocates, and I had decided that I now want to move out on my own. At the same time, I met this dark, handsome young man called David. We dated for a while, and then we decided that we want to get married. So in that 1 year, I set up on my own and I got married. Setting up a law firm on your own is not easy, but I would never go back to employment. Whatever little I make on my own is sufficient for me. Being my own boss, choosing what cases I want to handle is just something that has worked so well for me. Because even like when I started having children, I could go home whatever time I want. I go to the office whatever time I want. I could take as much maternity leave as I wanted. No, it was an awesome decision, and I think I made it at the right time. Even getting married was not a bad decision. I was 29 when I got married. My husband and I, at that time, we adopted some 2 children who used to live with my husband's mother, actually his niece and nephew. We took care of them, and then in 2006, God blessed us with our firstborn, a daughter. And then in 2010, we got our secondborn, a son. And then now come 2012. That was now another groundbreaking year for me. My mom went to be with the Lord in 2008. 11. So 2012, so my last born is the one who she never saw. But she saw my daughter and she saw my second born. Although even my second born was quite young. He was only 2. My daughter is the one who kind of remembers her. So in 2012, in March, when I was still pregnant with my third born, I got a phone call when I was just sitting there reading a novel, and somebody asked me, Njeri, does this car still belong to you? And he gave me the registration number. And I said, yeah, it does. What happened? Then he told me, oh, I just saw it here at the apartment that I live in, and I was wondering whether you're around, then I can say hi. Then I said, no, it's not me. David is the one who has that car. Then he said, okay, sawa. Then he hung up. Then I thought, let me call this David and find out what he's doing in some apartments in Langata at 9 p.m. So I called him and then I asked him, oh, where are you? He told me he was at Nakumat. Then I said, oh, okay, since you're there, can you pick up? I don't know. I just came up with some things. I decided to call that guy again to find out where those flats are so that I can go there. So I called, and then the guy told me where the flats were. So I got into my car and I headed there. Yeah, this happened at around 9 p.m. because the news was just starting when the guy called me, the 9 o'clock news. When I got to the apartment complex, the guy came and we said hi and what. Then I told him, you go. Let me just deal with this issue myself. I try and find out which Nakumat this is. When I called David and he lied to me and told me he's at Nakumat, I thought, why would he lie? And I don't know. I think, looking back, I think God just wanted me to find out this thing. Because I was those kind of wives who don't follow up on their husbands at all. Even if he doesn't call me for the whole day, it doesn't matter. He's busy as far as I'm concerned. Then he used to say, or he used to go to the gym every day, Monday to Friday. So I used to assume he's at the gym in the evening. If he would finish at the gym at around 8, then he comes home. So I never used to follow up on him. I don't know what made me think this time I need to establish, because I could have just said, let me wait at home. When he comes home, I ask him, you see. But now, something just told me, go there, Njeri. So I went. Then now, when I got there, I told the guy, it's okay now, let me call this guy. So I called him. Then now, this time I told him I'm not feeling well. Because the days coming up to this particular day, when I was still pregnant, I used to get, heart palpitations? My heart would start beating faster. And I would ask myself, what is that? And I had even told him about it, but I didn't know what it was. So at that time when I called him, I told him, hey, my heart is beating and I'm just not feeling good. I need to go and see a doctor. Then he said, okay, I'm coming. Then I had a door bang. It was a high-rise apartment place there in Langata. So somewhere, I think it was the 9th floor, he banged. I had a door bang and somebody walking down the stairs slowly. So I peeped and I saw it was him. So I went and I hid behind one of the pillars. Then he came down. Then he went to the car. Just before he could open the door, I showed myself. And I said, David, I thought you told me you're at Nakumat. You know what he said? He said, I'm going there now. Then I just told him, well, don't worry about the things that I told you to go and buy. I'll just go and buy them myself. As you can see, I'm fine. I drove all the way here. You can go back to whatever you were doing. Then I got in the car and I drove off. Then apparently even him, he got in the car and he followed me. Now when we got home, that's when I came to realize I had poked a beehive or a hornet's nest because the noise he made, complaining now, telling me the truth. I didn't know that there was anything. But he started telling me that I'm not going to stop him getting his happiness where he gets it from. I'm so boring. I just sit there and take care of the children and I'm not interested in him. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he went on and 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 on. At first, I was trying to defend myself, and then I came to realize, actually, it's meaningless. He's already convinced himself all those things. I didn't know anything. You know me, I thought he would tell me something like, he was dropping somebody. And he tells me who it is he was dropping. I had no idea that he was cheating at all. At all. So when I saw that outburst now, is when I came to realize, actually, something is going on and I'm supposed to know, but I don't know. So the next day, I called that guy, the guy who had called me and told me about the car and the flats, the one who showed me the flats. And that guy just told me, Njeri, don't be a fool. That's an apartment which he has rented for his receptionist at his office. And he's there all the time. This guy who was telling me about the car and taking me to the flat used to be a pupil in my office. He used to work for me. So he knew who David was. So he saw him there. And it was talk. You know, these things, nobody keeps quiet about them. And the girl he was dating was well known around the area. So she used to talk a lot about her relationship with him. She was not hiding. When he told me that now, and I confronted David and he denied it. So I thought to myself, now what can I do? Or how can I confirm this thing so that his denials can go away? Because there's no way that guy lied to me, that friend of mine. He didn't lie to me. I know he's doing this thing. A few days passed and all that. And then one day, he was going to Mombasa. Then he came home. He found me sitting there. And then he said, here, keep for me his iPad. And I thought, okay, fine. He packed his things and he left. Then I looked at the iPad and I got this idea. iPads, people just put their email, and if there's no password, you can be able to access the emails. So I thought to myself, oh my God, this is an answered prayer. So I went, sat there on the bed, and I debated and debated. Should I check? Should I check? Should I not? Should I not? Then I decided I'm going to check. I got on the iPad, and everything was there. Not just this girl, other women, everything was there. So many hurtful things, because they even used to talk about me and say things about me that, oh my God. Anyway, what I did is I forwarded all those emails to myself. When I went to the office, I gave somebody a flash disk to go and print, because there were many. I told him to go and print. Then he went, he printed. And then I also talked to my IT guy, and I told him to send those emails to David's siblings in the US, because I had told them and all of them rejected me. They were telling me it's not true. I sent everybody that. He got back from Mombasa, and he knew by that time that I knew. He found out because his brother and his sister told him. We've got these emails from an anonymous source, and it's you and these girls and all that. That's how he found out. So now he was telling that when he got back now, he asked me what I thought I'm going to achieve by telling his brother and sisters about him and the things he's doing. I should know that he's never going to leave that girl. I have to live with it. During all this time, I'm just absorbing all this news. And I'm asking myself, what do I do now? Should I fight for my marriage? Or should I leave? Well, now once he realized that I knew, he now started doing it openly. It didn't matter now whether he's seen with her wherever or whatever. He just did it openly. Even after I had my baby now, I would wake up, say, like at 3 a.m. to breastfeed him if he has woken up. And then she would call him at that time, and he would pick up the phone, go outside, talk to her. Me, I finish breastfeeding, I get back into bed. Then he comes back, finish talking to her. I knew it was her calling because I would see the phone on the other side. Because he didn't wake up immediately. It would start ringing, then I go there to see who is calling at this time. Kumbe, it's her. Anyway, so they started doing it openly, and then he started this thing where when he comes home, he says he wants to talk to me. Then he starts giving me a lecture about, sometimes he would just tell me stories about his relationships with his girlfriends from the beginning to I don't know when. And then other times he'd be telling me, why am I behaving like this? Why am I not behaving like this? Then one time I asked him to tell me what he thinks I should do so that he can get rid of this girl and whatever they're doing. Then he gave me a whole list of things that I'm supposed to do. Like, he told me I have to go to church. I used to go to church, but I used to be a church hopper. So I used to go from this church, that church. So he told me I have to go to church. That is the one thing he really helped me with. Because once I started going to church, God took over and everything just worked out for me. Then he used to say that I'm the one who has to cook. The house girls are not there to cook. It's me who has to cook. And after I cook, I need to sit down and have dinner with my children. And then when they are finished, I put them to bed. And then I sit down and wait for him to come home. And then I serve him his food. And then we go and sleep. Imagine I try to do that. I'm running a law firm because I may believe in making my own money. And then at the same time, I'm required to be at home to cook at 5. This was even before I had the baby. So I was 9 months pregnant when I'm trying to do all these things. Anyway, all this behavior that he had, I tried so hard to convince him to stop it. I used to look for any opportunity to talk to him, telling him how it's disturbing me, because I used to cry 24/7. I wake up crying. I go into the shower, I cry. I get dressed, I'm still crying. I cry. I get out the door, I stop crying because I don't want the house girls to see me crying. So I stop crying, then I get into the car. As soon as I've gone out the gate, I start crying again. I cry until I get to work. Then if I'm going to court, I come out, I go to court, I do my court session, everything. Then I come back into the car, I go to the office, I do my work in the office. Then when I get into the car to drive home, I cry until I get home again. Then I stop crying. It was just like that 24/7. And I would try to explain to him that this is not acceptable. I can't live like this. But he used to tell me that his girlfriends really respect me. None of them has ever attacked me. I've got everything I need. What is my problem? By the way, David used to go to church, and he still does, even now. He's an SDA, so he'd go to church on Saturdays. Every Saturday he goes to church, but he doesn't do the whole day the way SDAs normally do. He just goes for the sermon and then he leaves. And even during those days when we were together, he still used to go to church all the time. But he told me, according to him, the Bible is just a guideline. Yeah, it's just a guideline. You don't have to live according to those commands and all that. You're just supposed to absorb it and think, and then tell yourself which one you can manage and which one you can't. Yeah, and the ones you can't, it doesn't matter, because anyway, God forgives all sin. So there's no arguing with that. Because now when somebody has already told you what he thinks, there's nothing much you can do. He told me he doesn't believe in love. He doesn't believe in marriage. He never asked me to trust him. Just all these things just accumulated in my mind, so that by the 5th month of my third born's life on earth, I just lost it. I saw myself now just becoming like my mom, because I was at my office and I just started screaming the building down. The whole building was just wondering, what has happened? People even came to check. Some of my employees came and tried to hold me back because they thought I'm going to jump out the window. It was really, really bad. Then they called David and told him to come, there's a problem. Then when he came, I stopped screaming and I told him, now, David, see, we can go home now and you'll stop those relationships. He told me, yeah, okay, fine. Then he told me to go home. He's going to come. So at that time, I had hired a driver. By that time, I knew something was wrong with me, because I even used to have suicidal thoughts. Like I would think, what if I drive into that trailer and then I just die and all this is over? So I hired a driver because I didn't want to think like that and do it. So he told the driver to take me home. So I went home, and then when I was home now, I started shouting again, telling people to lock the gate and they can't let anybody in unless I allow them. I told the people to come and kneel down in front of me. My children were all wondering, what happened to our mom? Yeah, and my house girls were there. Even my gardener was there. They're the ones I was making them to kneel down, so that but it's not in a bad way. I wanted to tell them how things are going to be done now in the house from today on. Now, the way I imagine David wants us to run the house, so that he can get rid of this girlfriend and whoever else. That day now, he called my brothers and my brothers came and they all took me to Nairobi Hospital. While we were there, I had the opportunity to be in the casualty room together with David, just the two of us. And I told him, David, please, can we just go home and raise our children? You stop all these behaviors. Just leave that girl. Then he told me, if I left her, she would kill herself. How do you expect me to live with that? Imagine you if somebody kills himself because of you. How would you live? From there, I completely lost it. I got out and went to the main casualty area and I started shouting and screaming until they got these 3 men nurses to come and restrict me, and then they injected me. They tranquilized me. The next thing I knew, it was the next morning and I woke up. The same doctor that I had got for my mother was now the same doctor who was attending to me. And I thought, wow.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. That is part 1 of Njeri's story. Part 2 is going to be out next Monday. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on. I am so appreciative of Njeri sharing his story because a doctor I absolutely love and follow, Gabor Mate, speaks about how women suppressing the feelings they get from unhealthy environments or unhealthy relationships or toxic experiences, traumas, contributes to women being disproportionately affected by autoimmune diseases compared to men. Nearly 80% of those with autoimmune diseases are women. Nearly 80% of those with autoimmune diseases are women. And Gabor Mate speaks about the cultural aspects that could cause this. And it's how women are socialized, right? And so I think about my very healthy mom developing breast cancer. And whilst I can't completely pin it on my dad, it's not a lie that stress increases your risk of cancer. It's a risk factor. And my dad consistently stressed my mom by being a physically abusive man. You have to choose yourself and you have to prioritize your health. There are ways in which women are socialized to swallow their feelings and just be so giving to everyone but themselves. And men are socialized to expect this from women. That's what a good woman is, right? No relationship is worth you sacrificing your health for, be it physical health or even mental. I want to know what you connected with in this episode. Please drop me a comment and let's meet on Monday for part 2 of Njeri's story. Until then, thank you so much for being part of this family. I appreciate you and I believe you have everything it takes to heal. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.